This video is going to be a film study look at Jadeveon Clowney and the continued tremendous impact that he has for this Ravens defense, specifically Week 12 win against the Chargers on Sunday Night Football. I think he's one of the coolest stories to come out of this amazing season so far for the Ravens in 2023. From a selfish perspective, when Ojabo and Owe go down with injuries early in the season, to bring in Clowney and Kyle Van Noy and have them be not just placeholders. It's not like they were just holding a spot until Ojabo and Owe came back. They haven't approached it with that mentality. That's not been the performance level on the field. And just listening to them talk and the few times that I've been able to do so, that's clearly not their perspective at all. And that's just the way it's going to be to finish 2023. I think Clowney's got about 35, 40 snaps per game now at this point, settled into that role with Owe and Van Noy being, accounting for the rest of the snaps. It reminds me a little bit of that Conor McGregor saying from like 7 or 8 years ago when he was, going through his run of winning 2 titles in the UFC. He said something like, "We're not here just to take part. We're here to take over." And I apply that to Van Noy and Clowney with how they've played, how they've approached their opportunities in 2023. For Clowney, for me, it's always been about the aggression and commitment level that he plays at. I'll use a different phrase a little bit later to talk about his pass rush. The versatility has been a little surprising, and you'll see him take a really nice pass drop on the forced fumble against Keenan Allen in the third quarter. He's just been a constant force for Mike McDonald's defense. I don't know about you, it's fun to watch because I remember when he came out of college and he was so hyped up and had so much publicity. 3-time Pro Bowler with the Texans, and then leaves them in 2018, bounces around Seattle, Tennessee, the Browns. He did have 9 sacks with the Browns in 2021. At this rate, still only 30 years old, he's approaching double-digit sacks for the first time ever. He now has at least a sack in 3 consecutive games. Sunday night against the Chargers, he made another pair of game-changing plays. Technically, he's only credited with the one forced fumble, the strip sack of Herbert in the fourth quarter. But he seems to have this like magnetic ability right now in terms of getting to the quarterback and having violent collisions with whoever shows up in his path along the way. I love the effort and intensity, and the phrase I'm going to use. He's got 7.5 sacks right now. Like I said, 3 passes defense. I love the effort and intensity that he plays with. I would call it non-negotiable for him in terms of he's going to go from point A to point B when rushing the passer, and it's non-negotiable that he's going to end up there. It may be not always perfect hand placement, perfectly executed textbook moves, but the aggression, the commitment level, it's non-negotiable for Jadeveon Clowney that he's going to impact the game, and it's just a matter of how long you can get in his way as an offensive lineman, a tight end, a potential blocker, to prevent him from getting there. I love the way he approaches the game. Going to look at 3 plays here from his impact in Sunday Night Football. This is going to be the QB hit on Herbert. First possession. We use him on this stunt a lot from the right-hand side, where he's the outside 9 technique, and he stunts inside late after the pseudo pick by the defensive tackle. In this case, it's Matabike. He pulls up just enough here. I've seen this on social media. People talk about it. He pulls up just enough here to avoid the penalty, but nonetheless let the quarterback know that he's there and make him understand there's a potential drawback, a negative, for you hanging around in the pocket long enough with me around. And that's the thing I love about Clowney right now is there's a level of deterrence, almost like he's the dangerous guy on the block that nobody wants to walk past that corner and have to deal with. Third quarter, 2nd and 7 zone drop. Basically, we're exchanging him and Queen from the boundary. Queen's going to blitz. Clowney's going to drop out. Him and Roquan essentially surround Keenan Allen in this cover 3. Roquan gets credit for the forced fumble, but watching it live, I thought it was the combination of the two. The combination of the 2 hits at the same time by Clowney and Roquan that I thought dislodged the football. But again, Roquan gets credit for it. It's just, if you ask me, illustrates he's involved in everything. He's the type of guy, and we have a bunch of them right now, that you want to avoid. You want to avoid him at the point of attack. Unfortunately, he can't do so. We just got so many talented players on this football team that you cannot stay safe even on underneath passes like this against zone. Roquan clearly gets credit for it. It's been a brilliant season to watch him so far, and I hope it just continues after the bye week. Our usage of him, I think, is keeping him very fresh and keeping him this aggressive. Because what he was drafted for and what people are going to judge him by is the ability to get to the quarterback. And that's what he's providing right now is the game-changing ability in the backfield. Beating offensive tackles. This is fourth quarter. It's a 3rd and 14. There's nobody open for Herbert. There's nobody open here, okay? We're rushing with 4. We know that sometimes we use stunts like the one I showed you from the first quarter. Sometimes we use blitzes, but we've got to be able to win with 4 at times. And Clowney is one of the guys right now that's providing that security blanket, meaning we can safely rush 4 or safely blitz and drop somebody else out and still get to the quarterback, still present the quarterback with questions or problems to solve. It's his ability to play through contact, I think, that's most notable, along with the physical gifts that he has, the commitment level to get to the quarterback, to play on his tracks. Like I said earlier, I think it's non-negotiable. Sometimes I've referred to it as attack mode, commitment, playing on your tracks. For Jadeveon Clowney right now, it's non-negotiable that he's going to get to the end goal, the quarterback. And whether it's a tight end chipping him like you saw against the Titans, whether it's an offensive tackle that he's dealing with, he's going to play through that contact. I think there's also a level of belief there. It's an inference that I'm making just from seeing so many snaps of him over the course of the season. And probably went back and saved about 20 or 22 before putting together certain ones to show you at the beginning here. I think to try to illustrate the commitment that he plays with and the recognition that this is a great opportunity with what was a very good defense last year. And they're turning it into a great defense, clearly. Another fantastic performance against the Chargers in Week 12. And Jadeveon Clowney is a huge part of that. Whether he ends up with 10-plus sacks, who knows? I sure hope he does, because it would be the first double-digit sack season of his career. Another thing that I hope is that we re-sign him. I don't know about you. I would love to see us grab him now and get him signed for another season. Perhaps a 2 or 3 year extension would be, a little bit outlandish, if you ask me. I would want to see him come back next year. I would want for Jadeveon Clowney to have some security to know that he has a contract for next season. The way that he's playing, I think, right now warrants it, number one. Number two, he's only 30 years old. Last year, we had 2 productive veterans, Justin Houston and JPP. Clearly, Justin Houston was more productive in terms of sacks. And we let both of those guys go. We brought in Van Noy and Clowney, basically able to replace them in that role. I don't want to have to replace those 2 guys again. I wouldn't want to have to go through that same process again. With Owe and Ojabo coming back, I know it was announced recently that Ojabo suffered a slightly torn ACL and just underwent surgery. I think it makes complete sense to bring this guy back. There's plenty of film, there's ample film displaying that the physical gifts, the physical attributes and talent is still there. He's willing to execute anything we ask him to do, whether it's a pass stunt, dropping out in coverage like you saw on the forced fumble by Roquan against Keenan Allen. He's having an amazing season. Is it a Pro Bowl caliber season? I have no idea. I just know that it's been great for us. It's been fun to watch as a Ravens fan, and I hope for him personally and all his people, it's kind of like validation of his talent level, because he's really only had 2 seasons of 9+ sacks, and unfortunately in this day and age, that's what people are going to judge edge defenders, outside linebackers on. I really would like to see him get to the double-digit sack number and then us re-sign him so that we, as Ravens fans and as a front office, have some security in knowing that we've got a third player there that can play at a high level still. Appreciate you guys' time. You guys let me know what you think of the film study video of Jadeveon Clowney. If you've been surprised by the way that he's able to impact the game on a week-by-week basis, the talent was always there, but maybe the production was not, in some cases just because of health and availability. Appreciate you guys' time. Let me know what you think of the video in the comment section. If you think other Ravens fans would enjoy this film study look at Jadeveon Clowney and how he played in the Sunday Night Football win over the Chargers, then please consider grabbing a link to this video, sharing it out on social media to help this content get more reach.